in the shit show.
It's just a fucking
Well, I
The
thought we
shit
were going to
show
call
on
it
the
the
road.
road. I was going to say it would be very misleading to just call it the road. I don't think many people would know what we were talking about.
Yeah. Well, they'd figure it out.
But yeah, they figured it eventually.
All right.
But we are live with the people of the
Holy
YouTube.
fuck, Girth is here already.
Fucking show up or I don't know.
Show up or don't show up at all.
Exactly. I feel like I had some kind of thing there that I was going with, and then I just completely blanked on it.
Yeah.
Your Alzheimer's kicked in.
Maybe. Something Monica has to look forward to.
Yeah.
She'll drop me off in a park like a dog and just leave me there. I know it.
Yeah,
That'd be good. That's what Les would. Well, Les would probably just put me out the pasture.
That would involve a gun. We both know that's not going to happen.
Yeah. I didn't say she'd use a gun to put me down. She'd just put me out there.
I think the term "put out to pasture" implies that you're going to use a gun.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the thing. I mean, we sure as hell ain't sticking them out in the field to eat grass.
I mean, Caleb does that already.
What, eat grass?
Yeah. I've seen him.
You've seen them.
I've seen you do it.
You seen it?
I synced it.
You synced it with your own two eyes.
Hell, my family's a bunch of guineas. We eat dandelions and shit.
You fucking spaghetti bender.
Exactly.
Ooh, that's a big ass spider.
Where is there a big ass spider?
That was really random.
On the side of the kitchen cabinet.
Just out of nowhere. Ooh, that's a big ass spider.
That's a big ass spider. Get it with the rifle, Jay.
I'm
It'll
kind
make
of
for
busy
good
right
content.
now. I have a laser on my AR. I could just probably shoot it.
He's so kind of busy right now. You're about 2 minutes and 22 seconds too late for this problem.
26,
Yep.
27, 28.
Oh, that's a big ass spider.
She said it all like black girl like.
She
Like, oh, that's
did.
a big ass spider.
Thought that was your first girlfriend there for a minute.
Yeah, I thought fucking Aunt Jemima just walked in my house. I better stop now.
Yeah.
I'll follow you right down that path too. That's the thing. I had an Uncle Ben's joke lined up for that.
What are you drinking, Hudson?
Blue Moon.
Attaboy. Whiskey and apple juice.
Attaboy.
Everyone drink with me.
Yep. All right. Shall we dive into our topic of discussion this evening?
No,
Yes.
we got to do the quote first. Come on.
Do the quote.
You act like this is your first time doing this.
Dude, I don't remember the first time of doing this.
Then we did it right the first time that we did it.
I remember.
Oh,
You didn't.
yeah. Let's rip, rally, and roll, dude.
We
Yeah.
couldn't keep you in here for more than like 3 seconds before your internet went clunk.
That's because he was using McDonald's internet.
Yeah, he's upgraded to Taco Bell now.
Exactly.
Hell yeah,
They
dude.
got good internet. Who's doing the quote?
I thought you said you were.
No, it is me. I got a good one.
Yeah.
It's
Anytime.
yes. It's a quote by Mark Twain. You might have heard of him.
Nope.
Did something with books. It's
Did he
never argue with stupid people. They will drag you down to your level and then beat you with experience.
Drag you down to your level or their level?
Did I
'Cause
say
said
you?
were.
Never
You
argue
said
with
they-
stupid people. They will drag you down to their level and then beat you with experience.
It sounded like you said drag you down to your level. So it's like they were dragging you down to where you already were. Unless
I
my
mean,
ears-
if we're talking about me, yeah, get on my level. Which is probably below most people's levels.
Come
Yeah.
here, Papa.
Yeah.
Nice.
Come here. Get in the live show. Come on. You didn't get in the live show.
Oh, well, just a little bit. We got the nose.
There she is. Hi, baby.
Big snowball dog.
Yes.
All right.
I felt that quote was pretty appropriate, given we're talking about the dumb shit customers say.
There we go.
Yeah, or just the awkward conversations trying to explain stuff to the customer.
Hi, baby girl.
What kind of awkward things are you trying to explain to your customers, Caleb?
Oh, everything.
He's trying to explain to them why it burns when he pees.
No, I know why that happens.
Did you get a boner for the first time?
No. Nope.
Jesus,
No, but I
tell
do
your
have
woman
some
to put her
stories.
phone on silent during the production. What the hell's wrong with her?
How
The
much
other
time
people
you
watching were
Me?
have? No, the other person whose phone went ding.
It's all the way upstairs. How do you even fucking hear it?
I don't know. I heard a ding, and apparently it came through the microphone.
What? It's there. So kiss my ass.
Present it, motherfucker.
not sure that we can show that.
Good thing she's on that side of the camera. The little puffy dog over here is as confused as ever.
Our dog looks at us with panic, and then I tell him that we're gonna have 2 Christmases.
Why do you do that?
Oh, because I love fucking with Django, dude.
Yeah.
He's so animated. I would bring my doggies in, but they're both flaming morons, so they'd probably like rip the laptop off the thing and destroy the whole setup I have.
I mean, this one's not a moron. She just licks things.
That one's Scout, isn't it?
Yes. When I mean she licks things, I mean she just licks things. She
All
like
right,
walked,
Caleb.
like sitting here one day, and she just walked by and licked my good person.
All right, Caleb,
Fucking-
tell us about how you got a boner in front of a customer.
No, that's not what happened.
What the fuck are you doing? Why are you like? He's
Try,
like this
I'm trying to
camera,
get
like,
trying to get my internet working on my phone. Bear with me for a second.
He's like trying to figure out how the camera works. He's like, "What is in there? How does it make a picture of me?" That's
He's
wild.
like, what is that? He's like, what is that thing called cellular data?
Well, my cellular data
He's like, "Holy
data
shit, is that thing
is
stealing my
pretty
soul?"
slow,
He's like, "Do I live in there now?"
pretty much. But yeah. So I guess tonight's topic is the whole
The whole great
awesomeness
debate.
about awkward conversations with customers. So how y'all want to do this, dude? Like
Not always
around the
awkward, but
table?
more or less irritating.
We can do irritating. We can do a round table discussion.
Okay.
I
All right,
Arthur,
well,
whether or not
like,
you believe the grill had a round table.
More or less do like a just best customer stories,
Gotcha.
whether it be irritating or uncomfortable or I don't know.
Funny. Yeah. So as I've mentioned
Something I
before,
called DeWalt people.
Hey, save the funny ones. We'll do the funny ones at the end. We'll round it out with that.
Oh.
Oh.
I have multiple of
Well,
those.
I would say probably one of the more difficult conversations that I've ever had with an individual was back when I was in law enforcement, and they didn't understand why.
Fucking Brad.
Yeah, they didn't understand why they were getting arrested. And I was like, dude.
Turns
Seriously?
out 1.5 pounds of meth up your ass is still illegal.
No, it wasn't that. This dude, it was domestic
1 pound?
related offense. And he's like, man, I don't understand what the hell I'm going to jail for. He's like, I didn't hit her that hard. It's not like I put her in the hospital. And I'm like, motherfucker, you just admitted to hitting her. I'm like, that's assault and battery. You going to jail, bud.
I didn't hit her that hard.
Didn't hit her that hard.
Just enough to get the point
he's
off
solid.
across, officer, I swear.
Yeah.
He salted her
Well, then
batteries.
then there's this other guy, there go, I'm sitting on this stop sign that we got a lot of complaints in one time that people kept running. And I'm sitting there clear as day, not behind, not trying to be sneaky or anything. Like, it's pretty obvious there's literally no trees and no houses around the stop sign. Everyone keeps running. But it's across from like a retention pond in this neighborhood. A lot of people like to take their kids to because someone put a playground right next to it for them. And, so I'm sitting there and this guy, blows right through the stop sign, go pull him over. And I'm like, I'll pull you over. Yeah, but probably because I ran that stop sign. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, at least you're upfront and honest about it. And he said, yeah. He's like, officer, I'm just going to level with you. He's like, I drive this route every day and I run that stop sign every single time I come through this intersection. And I just look at him like, you dumbass. I'm like, I was going to let him off with the warning, but when you go and you admit that you do it every single day, I'm going to have to write you a ticket for it.
Not gonna lie, there's one stop sign on my route is dependent upon which side I'm going to, but there's one stop sign on my route that I have a tendency of rolling through that fucker.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some that over near my house that I straight up just stop for because,
dude, I straight up
Mall is
ran
closed.
one like right
The
around
mall
the
is
corner from your
closed.
house.
and literally the only reason there were stop signs there is because there was a mall and the mall is closed and the parking lots to the mall are blocked. So there is literally absolutely no reason to stop because there is absolutely mathematically zero probability of anyone coming out of that street.
Oh, I straight up like ran the hell out of one of yours up there. It was in the most stupid place.
We tend to do that up here.
You're like, there was a stop sign back there. I was like, there was?
They're those big red things.
I'm pretty sure you don't have to stop for them if they don't have the white ring around them. So
No, if they have the white ring around, they're optional.
red lights are always optional.
Especially at 3:00 in the morning after the bar.
Well,
shuts
that's
down.
the thing. When I'm going in, it's like 5:30 in the morning, and it's like this little stupid country road with this dumb stop sign on it. I get up to it, I'm like, there's nobody here. Keep going. That's right, Girth. Tonnage has the right of way.
Yep.
I know Jay's got a customer story that he's itching to share.
Yeah, Jay, go ahead and jump on in there.
It's about
Now
a
do the Godfather
particular-
theme.
Make him an offer I can't refuse. There's a particular hardware store chain that I won't mention the name of, but they generally wear blue vests in their stores, doing great white letters in the front.
It sounds a
That
lot
is
like
not Home Depot.
Slows.
Yeah,
Or Walmart.
I'm pretty sure that's what they are there. I said hardware store,
Walmart has
not
hardware.
department store. But they're a
Walmart's a
department
department
store.
store, buddy.
overall.
All right, fair enough. Sorry.
Don't interrupt. We didn't interrupt your
They
story.
just let anybody outside these days. Anyway, I mean, it's to the point where like I just don't even know what to do with it. They're so belligerently stupid, and also they seem to hire like the worst possible people. Like I've literally come in the back of the store because there's like they're everywhere over here and. Working for a company that covers 4 states, there's bound to be one that I haven't been to before. So some of them have ladder accesses inside, some of them have them outside, and some of them spots that aren't attached to their delivery area, the receiving area. Because some of them, like you go right out of the receiving area, they're outside there. Some of them aren't. Some of them are over near the lumber yard. Some of them, like I said, are inside. So. One of them, I proceed to ask this guy, hey, do you know where the ladder access is? I have no fucking clue. Ask somebody else. That's the answer I get.
Can
so
you point
later,
me in the direction of somebody that might?
Yeah. So later, I come down.
Which is
So
great
what
because
was
don't
wrong
they
with
all carry radios, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah, so
I
like
come down.
5 seconds keying up that radio, he could have that answer for you.
So I come down later. Oh, what was wrong with the air conditioner? Oh, I have no fucking clue. Ask somebody else. Didn't you didn't favor it, but I mean I didn't either.
Oh, I don't work on the air conditioner, sir. I was up there for the plumbing.
Yeah, I went up there for to check out your electrical service.
Yeah.
I went up there for a little R&R, bud.
Oh, no,
I
no,
was seeing
no.
if there was
You
any-
get all the sun on the roof, buddy. My tan is going to be great.
I went up
Hell
to
yeah,
see if
man.
there was any criminals up there, even though your ladder was locked.
Turns out we couldn't find anybody.
And they can't seem to understand that they can save themselves $2,000 per quarter per store if for some reason they can stop ramming CO2 sensors with forklifts. I mean, they just
No,
Have
that's
you ever met a
that-
forklift driver? You are truly asking the world of them.
that's part of forklift driving 101. You got to ram shit with it. Come on, Jay.
I mean,
and it seems like no matter when I go to a store, be like, hey, I have a service call. Like, typically they don't know the unit numbers. So I'll be like, oh, these units are back in this area. So they're saying, the units aren't working. Has anything changed with that? Have you had power outages? Nobody ever has an answer, ever. I mean,
I hate that. If you're going to call in a service call, know what unit it is.
Well, yeah,
I
and that's
did
the
one
thing
today.
Is there's like a series of questions that this particular store is supposed to answer when they push it through whoever the fuck they have to call, which I'm pretty sure it's their EMS company because every
Yeah.
time I'm there, I have to call their EMS company. And they
Which I
have
always
to
love
answer
that
a
too.
series of questions, and the EMS company literally has access to see all the RTUs and where they serve, but yet they still can't figure that out. So, like, if you just say,
Can't tell you which
hey,
one or where.
yeah, you
It's
can't
the
just
EMS
say,
company, the one that's named after a city in Arizona.
I don't remember 100%.
Because I've dealt with them before and they suck. They're idiots. They don't know.
Oh, they
anything.
are they are belligerent morons because I have stories about the EMS company as well. Let's see.
We'll dive into that in a bit.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I
Well-
have one on my list here to see about the company, but either way. So, and then you go to the EMS company that they use or whatever. These people, I call, and like just the other day, I was at a store. I call them to get a checkout code, and they're like, "Oh, there's 2 units in comm loss." Okay. So I go, I try to get up on the roof, which is painful because then you have to call the burglary alarm company to disable the alarm on the roof hatch. Then I have to find the asshole who has the key, which seems to be no one at that particular hardware store that has blue and gray colors with white letters, and sounds like slows.
There's a reason why we call them slows.
Yeah. So by the time I finally get up there, I'm like, okay, I verify the power to my units. I verify that they run in test mode. For those of you who don't know, these are Linux units. These particular ones were M2s, but literally they have a controller on there that I can push buttons, go to test functions, and I can test all the fans individually, the blower individually, the compressors, everything. So, okay, thing on works. Great. So I proceed to EMS people to see if it started communicating because it's very easy for the power to flicker for a second or something like that, and it just knocked that communication out real fast. So I proceed to start the kind of, for some reason, it's my job to also troubleshoot their EMS system with their EMS people on the phone instead of their EMS people coming out just to figure out what the fuck is wrong with their piece of shit controllers. But so he's like, well, that's not getting 24 volts. or it sounds like a power problem. I'm like, well, my unit has good power. I have good 24 and I have a good 3-phase 480 coming into it, 460. Well, that board's not getting power. Okay, well, what terminal does your board receive power from? Well, do you see the board sitting in front of you? No, I don't see the fucking board sitting in front of me. Yes, I see it, asshole. Well, do you see the transformer that's on it? That's where it gets its 24 volts from. I said, no fucking shit, but there's no terminals on there to test if it's putting out voltage or not. Oh, well, hold on a second. Let me tell you what pins on the wiring harness receive the 24 volts from the controller. Like, do you see that transformer there? No. I just see this big fucking square looking thing that's staring me in the face.
I had to call. We've got a movie theater that they have EMS, and I had to call them about something one day, and I'm like, hey, I'm at this store, or like I'm at this theater, and I give him the theater number, and I'm like, it's on this road, and the guy goes, well, which one are you at? I'm at number 1140 over on such and such road in Charlotte, North Carolina. And he's like, well, hang on. I'm like, what do you mean hang on? Type it into your computer, stupid.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh,
I've had that same company that I was just speaking of say, I give them the site number. Sorry, that's not found in our system. I'm not sure that store exists. Well, obviously it exists because I'm fucking standing in it.
What do you think? They went from 1139 to 1141 and they just skipped 40?
I mean, it does happen.
It does happen if they remove one or something like that, or it changes hands. These buildings are pretty specific. The ones that I'm speaking of, I can't speak of those theaters, but these buildings are pretty specifically built for that particular company. They are all pretty fucking close to each other.
The theaters kind of are too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the chain shit usually is. I had one just yesterday. I was out looking at a chiller for a guy, and he's got 2 chillers on his site. It's a site that we recently took over, and the chillers have a list of problems longer than my left leg. So I'm out there, I'm looking at the one chiller. I turn off the first one and I leave the quote unquote good one in service to keep cooling so that they can keep their production inside.
Yeah.
And as I'm out there working, I'm doing this and that on the other one, and I hear the one behind me unload and cycle off. And I was like, it's kind of weird. I've been here for on and off for a week now, and I've literally never seen either one of these chillers turn off. So I go over and I look at the controller on it, and it's at temperature. It met its set point and it's satisfied. I'm like, it's kind of strange. I look at the time; it's like 11:30. I'm like, maybe they're getting ready to go to lunch. It's a printing place. I'm like, maybe they turned off one of the presses or something. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, it's at set point though, so I guess it's happy. Go back to working. I'm in there in the other chiller doing what I'm doing, and it's been like 30 minutes, and the again quote unquote good chiller hasn't turned back on yet, and I'm like, man, something's wrong with that. I stop what I'm doing. I go over. I look at it. It's still satisfied. It hasn't met its temperature to start yet. I'm like, I guess it's happy. So I go back to working. Just about that time, the head of the maintenance department, or head of facilities, or whatever the hell his stupid title is. Half these people, I don't even know what their damn titles are.
Yeah.
But he comes out and he goes, "Did you turn something off?" I was like, well, I turned this one off, like, I don't know, 4 hours ago to start figuring out what was wrong with it. Like, usually it doesn't take me 4 hours to go through a chiller, but you have so many problems. This one does.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, he's like, our water inside's way too hot. I'm like, what? I said, I literally just looked at it right before you walked out here and saw what the temperature was. I said, everything's at set point. So we go over, we look at it. I said, yeah. I said, the water's at 45 degrees. He's like, no. It's like 78 degrees inside. I was like, is your pump inside running? He goes, I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, you walked by it to come out here and bother me.
Yeah.
Is it or is
So
it?
we go inside and we look at the pump, and I said, man, your pump's not running. I said, that's why. I said, because basically the way that it works is you have a loop that goes outside and you have a loop that stays inside the building. The loop that goes outside is satisfied because there's no heat being generated in the loop inside the building.
Right.
Because the pump's not running.
Yeah.
So I said, man, your pump's not running. I said, you got to figure out what's up with that. He goes, well, what's wrong with it? I said, I haven't the slightest damn idea. We don't take care of the pump. So we crawl up on the platform that they're on and we look at it. And I go to put my hand next to the motor and I can feel all this heat coming off of this motor. And the guy goes, well, are you going to touch it? I was like, hell no, I'm not going to touch it. I said, that thing's 100 damn degrees. He's like, why is it so hot? I said, well, if I had to guess, it'd be all this paper dust and shit floating around in here has probably clogged up the cooling fins and it's not getting any air and it overheated. That would be my guess. So I said, and he goes over and pushes the reset on the motor starter and the motor starts up and runs. I said, yeah. I said, it's probably overheating. I said, you need to get an air compressor or something and, blow all the windings out, get the dirt out of it, let it cool. And I'm putting my hand over the cooling fin as I'm talking to him, and there's like no air coming out of it. Like none at all. I've got my hand almost against it and you can't feel any air movement. I said, man, this thing's clogged up. So now his maintenance guy is over there, the guy that actually does the work, and he's over and he's looking at it and stuff, and he touches it and he's like, oh yeah, it's always that warm. Okay, it's not supposed to be that hot though. He's like, yeah, but it's always that warm. Okay,
just because
it's
always that
warm doesn't mean that it's supposed to be that warm. I'm telling you, that's way too hot. I'm like, that should be a little bit warmer than room temperature. He's like, no, it's always that warm. I'm like, okay, maybe it's always that warm. It's not supposed to be always that warm. And even if it is, it's not moving any air out of any of these fins. I was like, you need to, the air cools it. I'm like, you got to clean it out. So the facilities guy is like, just get an air compressor and just blow the thing out. He gets it. All this paper and shit starts coming out. There's finally air moving through the thing. He does this with it running and no guard over the coupler. I took a huge step back because I'm like, he's going to grab that airline with that coupler. And I'm like, yeah, that's like a 30 horsepower motor. She's not very forgiving.
Jeez.
Like those couplers are soft because they're sacrificial, but that doesn't mean it's gonna fucking burn itself apart with a little shitty fucking air compressor hose.
He tagged his hand with the shaft coming out of the motor, which is like, dude, it's got to be like 2 inches in diameter, maybe a little bit bigger. He tagged his hand with it, and then after he blows it out, he's like, "Oh, that really hurt, man." I'm like, "Yeah, no shit."
Yeah, you fucking dumbass.
Dude, because I was talking to somebody afterwards. I was like, that guy's insane. I'm like, I would not have got in there with that air hose like that. I would have been like, turn it off.
Yeah.
But this place isn't really big on safety because I was working on one of their chilled water air handlers this morning, and you literally can't turn the power off and lock it out because when you go to throw the handle on the disconnect, it hits the chilled water line and won't come down. I was like, oh, perfect. Good.
Nice.
So all you can do is turn it off by the motor starter. And I guess just hope that the motor starter works and nobody comes up and pushes the little green button that says go.
Pretty much. I mean, I had one when I worked at the hospital that was like that. You couldn't throw the disconnects to the motors because the automation system was so old that if you threw the power to the motors, that it would freak out the automation system. And sometimes with that automation system, if you freaked it out, it was like a 3-day process to get it to go back to normal. So it was literally like you would kill the signal to the motor starter. That was the only way you could actually physically shut it down.
I have another one that's like that like literally nobody knows where the breaker that powers this thing is. So when I go to change the belt on it, the only thing I can do is go in the office and pull the thermostat off the wall and bring I just bring it out with me. I'm like, well, there you go. It's up on top of the thing with me. I guess nobody's going to turn it on.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say some of the shit we do is like fucking really stupid, dangerous.
Yeah.
For no reason at all.
Well,
other than
and then the fact that, you know, what it comes down to, you know, just, you know, kind of going back on what the whole topic is, like conversations we have with customers or clients or whatever. And it's kind of like the duh things that's common sense. Like, you know, you're talking about some of the places where, you know, so what? Maybe an engineer or something decide, like poor planning, they decide for that one thing next to the shutoff, right? But then, like, you go to that other job site where you literally have to take the controller away so that the people that called you out there to work on their system know not to try to turn it on while you're operating on their equipment. Because you can't trust them to just, like, leave it alone, right?
Well, the problem is there's, like, 10, 15 people in that office. So if I go in there and just turn it off and then go outside to change the belt, say the maintenance guy walks up to me and asks me a question. Now the unit's been off 7, 10, 15 minutes, whatever it is. They start to get warm. Somebody goes over and turns it back on. You know, like I can't. The whole idea behind the disconnect and the locks and everything is I have sole control over the piece of equipment.
Yeah.
You know, I can turn it on and nobody else can turn it on. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another interesting conversation I had with a customer or a homeowner once I moved over to the build side and was doing warranty. I shit y'all not. So this is kind of a funny and like a duh and also a sad moment for humanity. So you've heard of like street smarts and book smarts, right?
Yeah. Go on.
So, you know, with me being in warranty the way that it is, if something happens on someone's house, like a new build, they submit a warranty ticket on our website through a special portal, and then it gets assigned to the warranty rep for that area or the builder, right? Anywho.
Are you reading the comments?
Yeah.
They're very distracting.
They are.
I try not to look at them.
So anyways, I get this warranty ticket in on a house that's, you know, about a month old. It's like my garbage disposal doesn't work.
The all-important garbage disposal.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. And, you know, sometimes, as you know, like, I mean, on our side, like with construction, like we order like hundreds of these at a time, or our plumbers order hundred of like these units at a time. And you're guaranteed to have at least one of 100 just be have a bad motor, or like it wasn't assembled correctly on the assembly line or something like that.
Dead on arrival.
Yeah. Goes a little bit haywire within the first month. So, okay. I set up the meeting with the homeowner. I go out there. And he's like, oh, hey, you're here to fix a garbage disposal? I'm like, well, no, I'm here to, you know, kind of troubleshoot it, make sure that, you know, it didn't flip a fuse, you don't have a breaker blown, stuff like that, to see if it's an electrical issue or if, in fact, it's a unit issue, right? And he's like, oh, okay. So homeowner invites me in, everything like that. We're talking, whatnot. And he's like, yeah, man. He's like,
I know a little bit about electricity. At first I thought it was a switch went bad, so I've already replaced the switch and all this other stuff. And he's like, it's not the switch. I've checked the breaker's fine, everything like that. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, how long ago did it stop working? He's like, well, a few days ago, like my wife was washing my kid's passy. He had small kids, and he's like, and the pacifier fell down in the garbage disposal. He's like, because we didn't have the rubber seal on top of it. I'm like, okay. He's like,
I know
well,
that's the first thing I remove from my garbage disposal. It's the thing that keeps all the shit from coming back out of it and onto the wall.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, so it fell on in. I'm like, oh shit, okay. And I'm like, well, did you just, keep the switch turned off because it's underneath the cabinet. As long as it's turned off, it ain't gonna turn back on. It's like, well, no, I opened up the cabinet, I went underneath there, and I
Well, I'm not gonna.
he's like, yeah,
I
me
wouldn't.
neither. No, he wasn't. He wasn't. I'll tell y'all what he does for a living after the story.
Yeah, you gotta. It's a joke. We're building
Yeah. So
because
anyways,
this
this
shit
guy-
has a punchline.
so this guy, he tells me all this. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, what did you do after it fell in? You just keep the switch turned off or whatnot? He's like, yeah, man. He's like, no, like I opened up the cabinet and I reached in and found the plug and I unplugged the unit. Cool. I'm like, when did you plug it back in?
Did he put
Oh,
one of
there's
those
no
plug
outlet
locks
underneath.
on there?
Yeah. I
Gotta
asked
put the
him, like-
plug lock on there.
He's
Jay
like,
knows
I
what I'm
unplugged
talking
it.
about.
So the guy unplugs it and he's like, admits that he unplugged it. I'm like, okay, well, not trying to sound like a jackass or anything, but did you try plugging it back in? And he looked at me, he's like, plug it back in. He's like, what are you talking about? There's no plug underneath there. And I'm just like, sir, I'm like, again, you just told me you unplugged it. It worked up until you unplugged it. That means there is an outlet
says there's no
underneath your
plug.
sink somewhere. Have you even looked? He's like, no. Well, he got
More
pissed
beverage.
off because of how I responded, right? I'm like, did you even try to plug it back in? And this guy, he's like, holding the plug in hand, he's like, whatever. He's like, you're apparently the expert. Why don't you come over here and see what you can do? And, if there's an outlet underneath there, just plug it back in yourself. Okay, dude, whatever. I go open up the sink. You can see the fucking plug right there behind the plumbing. Like it's not even hidden behind a pipe. Like I could understand if it was hidden behind like the
No,
sewer
mine
pipe or whatever.
sits like a foot and a half off the bottom of the cabinet.
Yeah, and that's what this one was. And it was like, we have the way that the plumbing and like the grease trap, it is off to the left where it's clear line of sight.
Yeah, you know why that is? Because
You
if
can
the
see it.
freaking collar for the sink leaks, you don't want it dripping on top of the damn outlet.
Yeah. So I reach in there, I plug it in, and I flip the switch. Damn garbage disposal starts working. This guy turns around, his entire world lights up. He's like, oh my God, you're awesome. What did you do to fix it? And I just looked at him like, I just plugged it back in. He's like, where's the outlet? He comes over there. I'm like, come here and I'll show you. He's like,
See that thing there with the two vertical lines and then the one kind of half moon shaped one?
yeah, it looks like a shock, like happy face. Whoop. And he's like,
See, watch, I'll draw little muscular arms on them. They'll look like they're being intimidating.
so I show where this outlet is, and he's just there, and he starts laughing, and he's like, yeah, man, I feel like a complete dumbass. And I'm like, well, you probably should because you are. And he's like, yeah, I probably shouldn't even tell you what I do for a living. And I'm like,
He's an engineer.
yeah.
They always
Yeah.
are.
Do you want to know what he does specifically?
I know what he does specifically.
It's the engineer airplanes.
Yes. But not just airplanes.
How did I know that?
He actually engineers the part of the plane where the wings connect to the fuselage.
Yeah, but that
That
has
is
nothing to
his-
do with electricity. See, you'll
I
find this.
know.
You'll find this with engineers.
Yeah.
Whenever they go, I'm an engineer. It never has anything to do with
With
whatever
what
the
they
hell
have
it is you're working on.
If
Yeah.
they're like, I'm an engineer, that means this guy figured out like how big the size of the ground prong opening on an outlet should be, and that's
Right.
all he knows. He doesn't even know what the ground prong is there for. He just
No.
knows how big the opening should be on that outlet.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, no.
every single time somebody's been like, "I'm an engineer and I'm out there working on their furnace." I'm like, "Yeah, what kind of engineer are you?" "Oh, you know, the little dimples on the golf balls? I make the machine that puts the little." I'm like, "What the fuck does that have to do with your gas pressure?"
So you mean you are worthless? I mean, my wife thinks I'm special. She likes my salary.
Pretty much.
My mom said I could be anything I want when I grow up, so I became a
So
professional blank. You guys
I
can
became
fill
a
in the rest.
professional dumbass.
So I became an idiot. But yeah, that was
I
probably one of my better encounters with a
and I really do think a lot of these guys are like in their own field, in their own little like micro universe thing that they do are really fucking smart.
Oh
But
yeah, no, I
in the
believe that.
regular
Yeah, they're-
day-to-day world,
smart
everywhere
to
else,
know.
they are fucking morons.
I mean,
Well,
I have a story
Considering
about
this
a
guy
guy.
works for the largest commercial airplane manufacturer.
Sounds a lot like Boeing.
Yeah, something like that. Because
No,
there's
it
only
sounds a
two
lot
Boeing
like
and
Boeing.
Airbus.
Into the ground because that guy designed them.
Yeah, but I mean, considering they're not like dropping out of the air because the wings actually stay attached. I mean, apparently he's good at his job, but I'm like, when he told me that, I just looked at him like, God damn. And then my wife started, this surrogacy stuff, and she had to do a lot of flying, and she's like, first thing
can't
she's
fly
like,
more than you do.
she's like, what kind of planes did he work on? I'm like, every single one that Boeing created. She's like, fuck. I'm like, oh, I'm sure he'll be fine. They haven't crashed yet. But yeah,
We call it
engineers,
Hope
man.
Airlines because we hope the fucker's gonna land.
I mean, I worked at a place before. They were they're like a specialized tooling company. More or less, what they do is they use CNC machines to create. They, literally will take a
Whatever
block
they
of
want.
steel and they'll create specialized parts. They
They-
mill them and machine them there.
They
And
can pretty much create whatever they want.
yeah, really, if they could program that machine, the numbers into that machine, it'll make it.
Mm-hmm. It'll do everything from like cutting like a valve like this one. It'll make something like this out of a solid hunk of brass, and then 5 minutes later, when it's done cutting that, it'll turn around and it'll make a mold for a little golf tee like that. And then in 20 minutes, it'll make some other fucking part that makes some other shit that goes in the gas tank of some military helicopter somewhere.
Yeah,
Anything under the sun you can make with a CNC if you know how to tell that machine to do it.
I mean, when they make everything, they went everything from a very specialized part for some stupid ass machine that I've never even heard of to, oh, these guys need a bolt that's a really odd size and thread pattern.
Yeah, it'll be
Couldn't
some
make it.
or like some stupid trinket and like, yeah.
But the story is, I mean, is given what the guy does, he's really smart because he knows exactly how to program that machine exactly the right way to make what he needs. But this is the same guy that's sitting there talking about how he lost a few brain cells because he took an entire bottle of Tylenol and washed it down with kerosene.
Makes sense.
Yes.
that's why I take my Tylenol.
I saw that.
Well, hey, you can get rid of the
I
damn
just saw,
headache.
like,
Yeah, I know.
yeah. So
I used to work with a guy that when he was sick, he would go like out to his boat and siphon some gas out of the gas tank. Not a lot. He told me it wasn't a lot. It was only a little bit. And then he would drink that, and that's how he would get over a cold. I'm like, okay.
I mean, you
I don't think
Bo,
you're
but-
supposed to do that.
Yeah, I was like, I don't really think petrochemicals are the way to go, but I mean, I'll stick with Robitussin. Seems to get the job done.
Helps me.
He
out.
was a crazy Cuban dude, man, and he had his ways about doing stuff. He's like, "Oh no, this works way faster." I'm like, "I'll take the 4 days with the cold."
Yeah.
I had a guy that he was a stainless steel engineer. Okay, so
See, this is what I'm talking about. They have very, very, very specific, like little
he was
tiny
just
things.
designing different types of stainless steel, different thicknesses, tensile strengths, whatever. I don't know. I don't pretend to know because it's not my problem. I could give a shit less.
Well, he's determining exactly how thick the stainless steel needs to be to like make those little holes, the little punch holes, so that people can hang shit on the shelves at stores.
Right. So he tells us that he wants to come in and examine the furnace that we're going to put into his house to make sure that the
Is he
stainless
checking
steel.
it for fleas and ticks?
No, he is checking the stainless steel of the heat exchanger to make sure it is good quality.
Oh no,
Nice.
no, not at all. Not even close.
Best
So
quality, right?
It barely has enough carbon in it for us to call it stainless.
yeah, really. But so he comes in and looks at it, and this is a tubular heat exchanger, and he looks at it, and
The stainless steel is so shit quality, they coat it in oil at the factory so it doesn't rust before you put it in the house.
yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely better than the aluminized steel, but
It's better than that, but not by much.
it's not by much. It would be like 2 hairs instead of 1.
Right.
And you're trying to like ratchet a piece of drywall to the roof of your vehicle with those. You're using 2 hairs instead of 1. It's just not going to work.
You
Well,
don't
you
know
got some
that.
long hair for a guy with a buzz cut.
Thanks. Well, it's not just because it's short here doesn't mean.
Oh, okay,
anyway,
okay.
you should know that. Come on. Anyway,
Well, I know. Who am I to judge?
so he looks through the top of this furnace, and like I said, it's tubular heat exchanger. He looks at it and he says, "Why is it rainbow colored?" I said, "It's tubular. It goes like this,
Because it's gay.
Bends.
Shut the hell up, Caleb.
bends, goes like this, and back. Why is it rainbow colored? Why do you think? It must not be high
Well,
quality.
you're the
stainless steel."
metallurgist. You
I
tell
was
me
like-
what happens.
I was like, it's tubular and it has 390-degree bends in it. How do you think they bend it? Well, isn't it
Without
made that way?
splitting it.
I says it's because they heat it up, jackass. Well, why? I says, well, why don't you go grab a piece of stainless steel and see if you could bend it into that shape without heating it up? Well, no, it's too hard. Ding, ding, ding. I mean, it's just like,
Surprised you didn't get into the, well, if you look at how many carbon atoms are in there and then the electrons spinning around it, shut the fuck up. You know it's not going to work.
Yeah, just tell me. Tell
I
me
was
I'm
like-
right. And
it's just like, look, pal. It'd be like, that one's steel. This one's stainless. They both heat up. Take your pick.
they both are metal. They
The
get hot.
difference is they guarantee the steel one for 20 years. They guarantee this one for life because it's stainless. They're both going to break.
Look, buddy, you're in Pittsburgh and I'm putting in a furnace. We're going to be out here changing the heat exchanger in like 10 years. Anyway, you cut this.
Yeah, especially when you put that brand new furnace under your 25, 30-year-old air conditioner that has a galvanized steel fucking drain pan.
I'm sure the coil was clean though and the airflow was fine.
Right.
Well, that's all that really matters.
So we want to go to funny ones now?
Yeah. I've got kind of a funny one. Well, it's
No, it's got to
yeah,
be
it's
funny
pretty
or
funny.
nothing.
No, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. I had an engineer one I was going to share, but we'll skip to the funny ones because we're running short on time. So back when I was working residential, I get a call from a guy, and he tells me This is probably 9:15 at night, 9:30. You know, getting pretty close to the point that I'm not gonna go out anymore. And he tells me, "Yeah, I need help." I'm like, "Okay, what's going on?" He goes, "Well, I got a new thermostat. It's Wi-Fi. I put it up on the wall, and I think I screwed up."
That's never good when they say, "I think I screwed up."
I'm like,
That means one, they definitely screwed up,
"Oh,
and two,
you definitely, yeah, that's code for I definitely fucked up.
and it's bad.
It's bad. This is really bad."
It's a bad cam. It's real bad.
And he's like, "How quickly can you get out here?" I'm like, "Dude, you're like, I don't know, 45 minutes away from me or something." He's like, he's like, "I don't care. Come out, just fix it." He's like, "My wife is gonna be pissed. Like, just as soon as you can get out here, come out here." I'm like, okay. So I go riding out there. I get there. He's like, my wife's gonna be home any minute. He's like, please get it fixed and everything. I'm like, "Oh, all right, calm down. Let me look and see what's going on."
I will pay you money to fix this. Well,
Yeah, I mean, he's like, whatever it takes. I don't care. Like, rip the fucker out and put a new one in. So I go under the house and I'm, looking, seeing what's going on. And I'm like, okay, I see what happened. Like, he was putting it together and he touched the common and the hot together and he popped the fuse. I hear his wife come home. And I through the floor, you can kind of hear people talking and they're right above me. So I can hear them fairly well. And, I hear like, "Oh, what's going on with the air conditioner?" And he's like, "Well, I popped the fuse," or he's like, I put the thermostat up and I don't know what happened and now it doesn't work." And I hear her just go off on this dude. She's like, "You better hope he can fix that thing. I swear to God, I'm sick and tired of you coming on, fucking with this shit and fucking everything up." I felt so bad for him. I was like, "Dude, it was just the fuse." I was like, "It's running." He's like, "How much do I owe you?" I was like, "Just a service call." I was like, he's like, "I don't have to pay you for the fuse." I'm like, "No, we're good, man. We're good." Because
You got enough on your plate.
yeah, I'm
You're
like,
married to her.
you got enough to deal with. And honestly, the show was pretty fucking funny from the crawl space.
I mean, that's not like it's a bad thing. I mean,
he gave me an
actually-
extra $20 for coming out there like that. And like, I'm like,
I mean,
all
I
right,
can't-
cool. Whatever.
can't tell you how many times I've accidentally bumped the hot leg off of something and the damn fuse pops. I mean, it's easy enough to do.
Oh, yeah. Well, and
Most
I
of the
don't
time, it's when I'm being lazy and I'm like, I don't want to go hunt for the breaker to turn this RTU off. And then all of a sudden I go click and I'm like, oh, fuck.
well,
Now I got to climb on the roof because I was too lazy to go flip the fucking breaker because I just tripped the transformer breaker.
Well, and I saw this a lot in residential too, is they would go and they would turn off the breaker labeled AC,
Yeah.
but it's not feeding from the
Right.
air conditioner, it's feeding from the furnace, And it was a big one that you'd run into is just people not realizing it's fed from the heat from the furnace side. It's not fed from the air conditioning side. So they they go and they turn the stuff off thinking they're doing it right. And then they just touch whatever the hell they touch and fuck everything off. But yeah, it was pretty hard not to like roll around laughing in that guy's crawl space. Cause I was like, I went back up. I'm like, dude, just a service fee. I was like, whatever the hell gets me away from her.
Yeah.
I don't want her wrath on me.
It's like, hell, dude, you fucked up. You admit it. We're good.
So I kind of have like two. They're kind of like short stories, but if you want to go first, Caleb, you can.
Well, I had another one. I was on call, and I got two quick ones. And like literally quick. So first one, have this guy. I was
Get on
on call.
with it.
He calls in emergency. Just moved into the house, and he's like, "I don't have hot water." What do you mean you don't have hot water? Like it wouldn't have passed like the final inspection, and you wouldn't have been
Yeah,
able to
the
buy
hot
it
water
from it.
is like a code requirement.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the hell? And but at the time, we did have an issue with the hot water heater, so it's like, okay, I'll be right out, So I go over to this guy's house. I walk in, he's like, "Yeah, man, like we have hot water, and the master bathroom and the shower and stuff, but we don't have it in the front powder room or the kitchen. I'm like, okay, that's kind of odd. You got hot water in one part of the house, but not the rest. But let's see if the plumbers fuck something up, because that is a possibility.
It happens.
So we go to the kitchen. He's like, where do you want to start? I'm like, well, let's start in the kitchen. Or I'm like, let's start in the powder room, because the way the house layout was, you come through the front door, powder room's right there on the right. I'm like, let's just, let's start here. See if we get hot water, right? He's like, okay. So I turn on the hot water, which, as you guys know, which knob is it if you have two knobs?
Left.
Yeah. So I turn the left knob. He looks me dead in the eyes, and he's like, why'd you turn on the cold water? It's never going to get hot. And I look back, and I'm like, what?
Well, it has an H on top. I think they designate it with the H for
Yeah, it has an H. It's,
hot.
Yeah.
it's labeled in red in some form or another. What it's a little red, ring around it with the H is in red, or something to signify like hot.
Yeah. So I'm like,
Everywhere else in the country is always on the left side.
yeah.
It's like
not
a
to mention-
unified system.
Not to mention, with new houses these days, we're using PEX, white for cold or blue for cold, and then red for hot. Universal across the board. And so I'm like, oh boy, this is where we're going.
Around
And,
here, they were using
immediately
white as supply, and then they, is like your main feed, and then red and white, or red and
Blue
blue
and red.
for the hot cold.
That's how we do it around here too.
Yeah.
Around here, I mean, they generally do it, but honestly, it's what they have the most of. Like, they don't always.
Nowadays, with supply issues too, it's you're gonna see
Yeah.
it more often.
Yeah. But anyways, generally they keep the red tubing for hot water. They don't
Mhm.
use it for cold water. But anyways,
Unless you're Bill McManus, and then you use that for whatever.
McAnus, you use that for your boiler.
so
Dude,
this homeowner tells me that, and I'm just like, come on, dude. And I open up the sink or the cabinet. I'm like, look, you see underneath here, you see the red piping? Yeah. Well, that's to the left nozzle. That means hot water. You see the white tubing? He's like, yeah. That's to the right side. That means cold water. Okay. He's like, well, can we look at the kitchen real quick? I'm like, yeah. We go to the kitchen. And the way so it's a single knob faucet, which, I'll give them that. Single knob faucet. But for the hot water, you push it back. For the cold water, you pull it forward.
Oh, it's one of those. Yeah, I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about. Kind of weird.
Yeah. So it's a little off, and depending on the brand. Some brands you have to pull forward for hot, push back for cold. Just depend on the brand. Well, the brands that we use at my company, you push back. So I go in and I push the lever back. He looks at me like, why'd you turn the cold water on? I'm like, dude, come on. we just had this discussion. I'm like, but whatever. And I'm like, no, you push back for hot, pull forward for cold. And he looks at me, he's like, I don't believe you.
I love
Okay.
that. I don't believe you. You
Well,
don't
okay.
have to, but fact is fact, buddy.
Okay,
Right.
well, there's steam coming out of the sink, so I think that's the hot one.
Well, we didn't have steam yet. Like, it's as soon as I threw it back, he's like, I don't believe you. I'm like, I'll make a deal with you. So I turn the water off so we don't have the noise of the faucet run and interrupt this conversation. I look at him like, make a deal with you. You turn the water on for hot the way you like to turn it on, and then I'll turn it on the way it should go, and we'll see which one gets hot after 5 minutes. He said, deal.
While
He
you
goes
do
first.
that, I'm going to go get a box of crayons and some construction paper so I can explain to you how the world works.
Yeah. So he does. I set a timer on my phone. He's like, are you really going to make it run for 5 minutes? I'm like, oh, yeah.
Oh, if we're going to be stupid, we're going to be really stupid.
So he gets irritated.
Borderline extra chromosome here.
Yeah, he gets irritated. Runs 5 minutes. I'm like, okay. No, still ice cold. All right. Turn the water off.
Damn,
Push
look
the
at that.
timer.
55 degrees, just like it's coming straight out of the ground.
Yeah.
Here, you want to put your hand under it?
Flip it. Hit the timer at the minute mark. I'm like, put your hand underneath it. He does. He's like, oh, damn, that's hot. I'm like, okay. Who's right? He's like, thanks for coming out. All right. Have a good day, sir. Bye. And by the way, can you sign right here saying you're an idiot?
Just right there next to your name. You don't even have to put your name. Just write dumbass.
Yeah.
No. I'll just tell him it's French. It's fine.
Yeah.
Dumas, as Shawshank Redemption will tell you.
This guy knows.
All right,
what
Jay.
I'm talking about.
What's yours?
So I got two. One is funny in a disgusting way, and another one is just back to that kind of like retardation thing.
Well, as long as it's not cosmic funny, we don't do that kind of funny here.
So this is a lot of my real funny stories go back to residential days, just because commercially most people are just stupid and not funny.
Well, commercially, we don't deal with a lot of our customers. We have a phone
Yeah,
number or
That's
something.
a big thing too.
And
More or less,
it's-
you're just like me. I'm dealing. with
It's a
employees in the
text. Hey,
store.
I'm here. You know.
Yeah. But so this lady puts in a service call because she says the air conditioner is leaking. I'm thinking, okay, maybe it froze up. Maybe
Clogged
drain line's clogged. Condensate pump quit working. It's dumping water onto the floor. Something. So I get there, check the AC. It's running. Okay, cool. No ice on the lines or nothing like that. Just your normal sweating. Okay, run inside. Make sure the blower's running. Typically, it's going to be if there's no ice on the suction line. But nonetheless, I'm going to make sure anyway. Blower's running fine. Airflow strong. Filter's clean. No water run the furnace. Condensate pump isn't running. So that means it's not full of water. And just for shits and giggles, I filled it up with water to make sure it would engage. And it did. Okay. So where the fuck is this water coming from that she's speaking of? So I call her downstairs and she says, well, it's coming from over there where it comes through the wall. I'm like, so this hole right here? She's like, no. She's like, over there on the floor. See that wet spot? I'm like, yeah, that's your main drain stack going through the floor. I'm like, that has nothing to do with the air conditioner. I says either A, you're getting there's moisture under your house that's coming up through the floor, or B, like, when you take a shower and there's a lot of water coming down here, your stack's leaking or backing up a little bit or whatever.
It's got
That's
a slow
not-
clog, or it's running slow because it's got a partial clog or something.
Right. She's like, well, that's not possible. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, well, I don't shower. I'm sorry. She's like, I don't shower.
Okay, well, when you take a bath and you
I'm
pull
like,
the
well, when
plug
you take
out
a
of it, it
bath,
does the
she's like-
same thing.
like- She's like, no, I don't think you understand. I don't clean myself. I'm like, okay.
Well, if you'll just sign right here.
I'm like, there's nothing wrong with your air conditioner, so I'm going to head out now. We'll bill you. Oh, let me give you a tip. No, let me give you one. Clean yourself.
Take a bath.
I'm going to go vomit in the corner over here for an unrelated reason.
I was like, oh, man. I was like, here, I thought you were leaking sewer gas or something. I had an odd smell down here, but now I know what it is. Thanks.
It's weird it didn't show up until you came down here.
Yeah. But, so then there's another one. This older woman, she's not old. She's not like, where I would be worried that it's like dementia or something like that. She's like, late 50s, maybe like 60 years old. She calls because the furnace isn't working. I don't remember what the situation was. But for some reason, I did have to replace a circuit board in that furnace. I don't remember why. It's been a long time now. But I also had to like replace a thermostat too or something. I think it was just one of those situations where
Something get wet.
something got wet and shorted out or something like that. I don't remember. But either way, so I replaced a thermostat, and being an older person, she's used to the old Mercury thing where you just turn it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, I don't have ones
What
that are
was
just
that? The Honeywell like 910 or something.
something ridiculous. I don't know. The Honeywell too damn old to still be on your wall.
The Honeywell older than the three of us put together.
Yeah. It's not the
9,000.
oldest thermostat I've seen, but
Oh, not the oldest
So-
one I've seen either.
yeah. So I was like, okay, well, I have these ones that are round and work that same way. I said it's just a little bit more expensive because it's not a heat only, it's a heat and cool thermostat. I was like, so I mean, it'll be there if you ever get air conditioning, you could still utilize this thermostat. I was like, but it's just going to be a little bit more expensive for now, just because that's all I have.
Oh, I got a quick thermostat story after.
You know that you can understand turning it that way. I was like, if you wanted the digital one where you could push the button, she's like, no, I'd rather have the round one. I'm like, whatever, you know, you're paying for it. I don't care. So put it on the wall, turn it to heat, verify it works, everything works. Great. So I'm back at the office later, like getting all my work orders written up and, you know, turning them in for the people who get billed and stuff like that. The lady calls while I'm there.
Was this when you worked for the lady that I prank called?
Yes.
Perfect.
I'm glad you remember. It's great, by the way. I have to have you prank call somebody else. Anyway, moving on.
It's okay. I got some people that you need to call to.
Perfect. So she calls while I'm there.
This is how we do business, everybody. Me and Jay do not exchange money. We exchange phone calls.
Yes.
Like, well, if you need me to do that, that's at least 3 phone calls.
So the secretary answers the phone and she's talking for a couple minutes and then she hangs up and just like busts out laughing. And I'm like, so I'm like, what? Like, what did I miss? She's like, that lady you were just at, she just called. Did you change the thermostat? And I'm like, why? The lady called and said, if I turn the thermostat to cool, will it blow cold air? And the secretary says, well, do you have air conditioning? She's like, well, no. Well, you're not going to get cold air.
Well, we don't know if we don't. I would have been like, well, you don't know if you don't try. Go turn it on. Let me know.
well, why not? Well, you just answered that question just a second ago. Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay.
The fuck?
This is why I can't be in certain like roles in life, because I'd be like, well, you don't know if you don't try. Go flip it over to cool. Leave it on there for a day or two. If it doesn't work, call us back.
Yeah. I mean, I've had one too. I'll throw one more in there. Where a lady was getting a new air conditioner because the other one had a bad leak in it, and
the air conditioner didn't shower.
It was, to show you how old it was made by General Electric with a spine fin coil. So it's a long time, you know. That was when they had 3 capacitors or something back then, 4, instead of just dual runs and stuff.
I don't know. They did a lot of weird shit back in the day.
They did a lot of weird shit back then, but it's an old bastard. So she says, you know, she's like, I understand I have to pay for it. She's like, you know, I'll pay you to charge the air conditioner until the new one comes in because it's just really, really hot and it's just getting really, really bad in the house.
Yeah, we have to do that around here sometimes.
Yeah, you know, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And so I get there and it's not running. I'm like,
don't think technically you're supposed to do that under the 608, but
EPA, don't listen.
Fingers and ears.
Yeah, so I'm like, do you have it turned on the thermostat right now? She's like, yeah. She's like, I can hear the fan running inside. I'm like, okay. I was like, did you shut it off at the breaker or something? She's like, I don't know. Maybe my husband did. She's like, you want me to go check? I'm like, yeah, sure. I was like, if it is, you know, just turn it on and then, you know, we'll charge it up or whatever. But she came back out and she's like, the breaker won't turn on. And I'm like, is it in the middle position? Like, is it kind of like straight instead of left or right? And she's like, yeah. I was like, it's tripped. I was like,
turn
okay.
it off, then turn it back on.
I was like, turn it off and turn it on one time. If you turn it on once and it flips back to the middle, don't touch it. She's like, okay. So she flips it off and turns it on. And I know that she didn't listen to me because I'm listening to the humming next to me. And I can hear her in there going click, 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 click. And I'm like, stop. And she's going click, 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 click. All of a sudden, I see sparks and fucking smoke just pouring out of the top of this. The compressor was shorted to ground, and she just kept turning fucking power onto it. So it kept just backfeeding and just sending power to ground. And it kept going and going and going. It's shooting sparks, and it's fucking smoking, humming like hell. And I'm like, stop. She's like, what happened? I'm like, well, you damn near just caused a fire. That's what happened. Like, you remember that part where I said do it once?
I always like when it's in metal conduit and you turn it off and you turn it back on and you can hear all the wires jump inside the conduit. Just
Yeah, you hear
like,
them go like thud, and you're like, ooh.
that's expensive.
Yeah. Good times.
Wait.
Okay, do we want to take some time and address comments now?
Yeah, you got some comments you want to hit?
I'll hit the ones that apply to me. How about that? Gareth, thank you. I should for playing for like the last 12 or 13 years. Jerry, I am handling
He's available for parties. If
I am handling comments now, buddy, but we've decided to do it at the end just to keep it from
which I think
taking away
was
from
his
what
suggestion, by the way.
was going on. Yeah, really. Come on, Mr. Alzheimer's. Now I know where Nick gets it from.
Who's on first?
What?
Love
Hmm?
when customers don't even know what they want from you, just that they're upset and you're their nearest target. That happens a lot, Jenna.
The nearest department store?
What, Lowe's is a department store and Walmart's a hardware store, right?
Walmart is a hardware store, as we've learned.
Yeah.
Any comments apply to you, Caleb, that you want to address?
Nah, just the complaint. One of my work colleagues actually got a warranty ticket this week where the person
Actually, you do have a comment that applies to you.
All right, Gertis, when you come by, bud, you bring you bringing the mud or the drywall? Let me know. Let me know, bud.
I think it'll take him a little while to get there.
It's
I'm off on Tuesday.
let's see, if he gets in his boat now and starts heading east,
But no.
Well,
if he hits the Panama Canal, he could probably be here within about 2 weeks.
honestly, he could actually take a boat all the way to my house, like up to within a mile, and then I could pick him up at a boat landing. Because
Save Caleb from the terrorists.
You've got a hashtag now, buddy. You're like that Jeffrey Epstein guy.
Pretty soon we're going to be talking about how you didn't hang yourself.
2 weeks, nah, Girth. 2 weeks is too long, man. Especially if you can grill me like
No,
that.
that'll be perfect though. If he leaves right now, let's see. It'll be during the next live show. We can watch you guys put the drywall up together.
Yeah, really.
Fuck it, let's make a date.
Or get in that
no
fucking boat,
joke.
man. Like, I mean, when I say get in that boat, I mean like now.
Like right now. Like grab the drywall and go.
And when I say you can get to my house by boat from sea, as long as you got a shallow draft line, you can get up the Edisto River. That's not too far from my house. There's like 8
Oh no.
lanes.
I want to see him going through the center of town, just on the boat.
God.
Just
Who's
I picture
who's
him just
good,
sitting in the boat, like waiting for the train to go by. Just
Yeah.
2,000
2,000
gallons.
gallons of gas.
It's probably about.
I don't know if you want to buy that much gas now. It's not even in America. I can't even imagine where the hell you're at.
Oh
with
God,
gas.
they
It's
sell it
like-
by the liter down there too. It's like 4
Yeah.
liters is a gallon. I mean, it's gonna cost him out the ass.
Like, what are you, like $7 a liter now?
Now I know the most expensive gas station right now is out in California. Shocked there, and it's at a couple weeks ago is at $7.22 a gallon.
Nice. The worst I'm at here was $4.79 a gallon.
I think that's about what we're at here.
We're not
The
quite
best.
there yet. We're still around about
$2 a liter there, so it's about $8 a gallon. Then I mean, give or take.
Yeah, well, it's bad that when I was in the Dominican Republic, that gas was cheaper down there than it is here.
It's like you can pump it straight out of the Gulf.
Huh.
Yeah, but it's except for somebody spills it all the time.
Fucking DC.
No system is perfect.
No, yeah.
I think that's it, boys.
Yeah, I'm glad I got a hashtag. So
Does
stay
anybody
tuned.
have any comments they want to add before we roll out the door here? I'm
Other than
not
grilling
sure
me
what's
back
going on
on
with
drywall?
the "Hey, fake me" comment there. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't even know where to begin with that.
Yeah, no, we're
I
just
saw
going to
that
leave
too.
you out, just for many reasons. More or less because
I
we
haven't
continue to be able to make videos.
I haven't seen him commenting, so he may have just popped in for a minute.
Kind of like Ipa used to do,
Just like Ipa used to do.
bitches. I have yet to bring my 410 into my live
Oh,
videos. I need
damn
to
it.
so Ipa can fucking. Maybe I should just go out to my work van and get some RS-44B and just wave it around in here. Because I don't have any 410. Dude, are you guys experiencing a 410 shortage too?
Not that I know of, but I haven't bought
We are.
any in
I haven't seen
a
any.
while. Oh, well, good.
You-
Caleb hasn't seen anything, so.
I'm talking like it's bad enough to where like there's none in the western section of the state or eastern Ohio, northern.
Give us
West
the
Virginia.
drywall content we deserve.
What's that?
She said, give us the drywall content we deserve.
Hey, listen, Johnny, he
I
just
just
got to
saw
the
that.
point where he has like reliable internet, so let's not push him too hard on the walls.
Yeah, I mean, to be
Maybe.
completely honest with you, the wall that is behind the camera doesn't even exist.
It's a green screen. I'm in the Taco Bell
It's
parking
a
lot
green
sitting my
screen.
fucking Ranger right now because it's a
That,
Ford
that,
fucking
that little
Ranger.
hum you hear in the background, that's that 4-cylinder doing its best.
Yeah, that's that little hamster like rolling around.
Yeah, man. Actually, I got my little dachshund in there now. I get a little bit more pep to the step. Stay tuned. I may be getting a Great Dane here soon.
Well, the people don't want dogs anymore. They want drywall.
They want drywall. Okay.
I know. I brought my dogs into the video this time and nobody said nothing. So next time, guess what? You fuckers ain't getting no dogs.
I want to get one of those like little, what are they, like 2 foot by 2 foot pieces of drywall that you can get at Lowe's, you know, for just like putting like patching
Mini
something. I'm gonna
clothes.
get that and just like put it somewhere in the background next time. Oh shit, they're coming for Caleb.
What? Sirens? Well, I've been
Yeah.
here all night.
You got money for Great Danes, but not walls. All right. Well, on that note,
Yep. Well,
communists aren't people. We're about to lose Caleb to the feds. And hashtag save Caleb. Spread that shit like COVID.
Gareth, if you want, if you say yes now, I'll play something in the opening
hashtag.
for the video next time.
Love it.
Like I used to do. I used to do that for a while.
For like 1 minute. All right. Well, like, share, comment, subscribe. Hashtag save Caleb.
Donate to the channel.
drywall.
Get Caleb some walls.
You donate to the channel so we can get Caleb some drywall.
We finally got him a Wi-Fi extender, so
I'm telling you, he's moving up in the world.
I was
He's
gonna
gonna
say, you know,
he's
of
gonna
all
need bail
things that's
money.
needed here. You know, I need a camera and like microphone and stuff like that. But you know, he doesn't even have walls, so you know, let's just start with him first.
I don't have walls, and I got the cops coming for me. So you
Yeah.
know, like my
I mean,
my
like-
day's numbered, right?
You see that shit back there? I have paint and windows. There's a window behind that flag.
Yeah, there's a window there. It has a blind, a curtain. These walls have paint. Like it's
I got windows too. See,
Oh, look at that. He's got one.
yeah, one doesn't
and
even
look, two
close.
others and a door.
Is that a bra?
No, that's a broom.
What did your wife fly in on that this morning?
Blasting on that every fucking morning.
Uh,
Well, on that
Alright.
note, let's Nick.
let's end it.
Oh yeah.
Communists aren't people.